This is the literacy portion of our curriculum night presentation for Level 1. For literacy this year, we will be using the Reader's Workshop model for instruction. Reader's Workshop allows the students to learn through mini lessons and then also to apply their learning through independent work times. This Reader's Workshop will consist of 2 mini lessons, a read to self time where students will be reading independent, just right books from their book bins. They will complete one daily literacy choice, and then we will have a share time to close. Throughout the Reader's Workshop, we will also have interactive read alouds, guided reading groups and strategy groups, and individual conferences with the teacher. Reader's Workshop has 5 main components. The first component, like I said before, was that read to self time. All students will be reading to self together to ensure that all students are focused and able to read those independent level texts. Then, when students are choosing a literacy choice, they can choose between read to someone, work on writing, word work, and listen to reading. The first component is read to self. Research shows that the best way for students to get better at reading is to read, read, read. This is why we provide the students with 15 to 20 minutes daily of independent reading time. During that independent reading time, students will select from their book bins books that are at their just right level. These are books that they have chosen from the classroom library, but have also worked with a teacher to make sure that these books are a good fit for them. During this read to self time, the students will have time to practice skills and strategies that they learned from the mini lesson. For example, today we did a mini lesson learning about beginning, middle, and end. The students were then instructed to go read a book by either reading the pictures or reading the words, and having to apply that mini lesson and find the beginning, the middle, and the end in their own book. While all students are reading to self, students will participate in individual conferences with the teacher. These individual conferences will focus on individual goals for each child and also where their next learning steps can occur. The next component to our Reader's Workshop is Read to Someone. Students really enjoy participating in Read to Someone because it gives them time to think and talk about books. It also allows students to practice their reading fluency. Like I said before, since research shows that the way to get better at reading is to read more often and more frequently, this Read to Someone time provides students with more opportunities to read. It also increases their motivation and attention to reading. Word work is another component of our Reader's Workshop. Word work can be facilitated many ways. It can be facilitated through guided word work, which is often teacher-led and phonics-based. It can be facilitated through technology and the many options of web-based programs we have, and also through independent work. Often when students are doing independent word work, they are working on high-frequency words that are the words that they need to work on, and also on word families. Work on writing is another component of our Reader's Workshop. Work on writing is different from the Writer's Workshop in that students are responding to texts during work on writing. They are writing about the reading in their Reader's Response notebooks. This allows students to have more time to be writers, but it also allows students to have a deeper understanding of the text that they read. By reflecting on the text and writing about the text, it really gives them an opportunity to think about what they read and then put it down in their writing. It also gives them an opportunity to share their thoughts about the books with their peers. The final component to our Reader's Workshop is Listen to Reading. Listen to Reading really helps students develop their vocabulary and their fluency. Currently, we are using a Pebble Go website in our classroom for our Listen to Reading component. This website is made up of many different informative pieces that are all based on animals, or on Earth and space, or on biographies. Students are able to choose if they would like to read the text themselves or if they would like to have the text read to them. Many students will participate in this choice, but some students may do other choices more often based on their individual learning needs. All Readers Workshop times come to a close with share time. This allows students to reflect on their learning. It allows them to think about what they learned, to think about what strategies they used, and to think about what questions they still have. This is also a great opportunity for students to learn from each other. I personally also enjoy share time because it helps students be held accountable for what they were responsible for doing. For example, when I was referring to the mini lesson on beginning, middle, end before, all of the students would go off and read their own books about whatever their books were on, and they would have to find the beginning, middle, and end. Then, when students come back to share time, they were responsible for sharing about the beginning, the middle, and the end of their book. In literacy, we will have many units this year. Currently, we are working on unit number 2, the Wordless Picture Book unit. This is a mini unit and will be wrapping up in the next week or two. You can see from this list that our reading units vary, and some of them are about strategies for readers, others are about studying fictional texts, and some are about studying nonfiction texts as well. Our theory and philosophy on flexible grouping is that in literacy we hope to have a range of all readers in all 3 classrooms. We really like to have that range of readers because we want students to learn from other model readers. Maybe some students really excel in comprehension. A student who needs to continue to work on comprehension can really learn from a student who has deep understanding of the text. Students will be grouped in different ways this year. Students may be grouped with like readers, and those would be students with similar reading levels. For example, these students would be in a guided reading group. A guided reading group is when all students are reading the same book at the same level. Another way students may be grouped this year is with a strategy group. Strategy groups are when students are working on similar reading goals. For example, all students in the group may be working on closely reading to find evidence from the text. But one student may be reading a lower level text, whereas another student may be reading a chapter book. This would be considered a strategy group because students are reading different books and working on the same strategy.